is going up and who is going down from the EFL Championship? Today, let's try and find out. Hello guys, and welcome back to yet another video. As I say, today we are dissecting the promotion and relegation battles in the Championship now that we've hit the final international break of the season. There's only 8 games to go, so yeah, not long left at all. Let's see if we can work this out. As ever guys, I am intrigued to get your thoughts. Do comment down below with the team you support and what you expect to happen in the final run-in here guys. There's so much to play for. I don't know if I'll give an official prediction today. I'm going to try and work things out because it's still so tight. I will do official predictions for my final Championship table prediction in a couple days time, but we've really got to look at this and try and dissect it first. So yeah, get your comments down below, let me know your thoughts. Be sure to support the video, drop a like, it takes 2 seconds. Let's go for 2,000 likes, let's go for some big support. Your support has been fantastic this season, so make sure you're subscribed as well. Thank you to those of you guys that are already subscribed. We're this close to 94,000 now, so do hit the subscribe button. And let's have a look at it. We're going to start with the top half. Don't worry, we will come to the bottom half. But this is the lay of the land. And look at it, it's just, it's so hard to predict. You've got the top 2 level on points. You've got 3rd place, only 2 points behind them. And then when you look at 6th and 7th, they're level on points. So let's try and work this out. So first things first, we all know it's a 3-horse race for the top 2. And look, I'm interested to get Leeds, Sheffield United and Burnley fans' thoughts on the title. Do you care about the title, or is it just about finishing in that top 2? Because it feels to me like the title is obviously great to win. It's an added bonus, but just getting that top 2 at this stage, I mean, look how close it is. Top of the table, you've got Leeds United. Let's start with them. They've been fantastic this season. I've said it all along. I think they're going to go up, but they have allowed the others back in with just 1 win in 4 games, which is obviously not top of the table standard. Over the course of the season, they deserve to be top. I know we can mention Sheffield United's 2-point deduction, and we'll come on to them in a second, of course, but Leeds have been fantastic. Look at the difference in goal difference, by the way. That could be crucial at the end of the season. But yeah, like I say, the recent form will be giving some of the Leeds fans the jitters, especially with past experiences, knowing that this is a difficult league to navigate and that final run-in can be quite unpredictable. Leeds did just draw 2-2 with QPR. It is 2 points dropped and a point gained, depending on how you want to look at that, you know, your perspective on it. They did have to come from behind. It means they're still top. We're going to come on to fixtures in a second, where I think Leeds, out of the top 3, have maybe got the most favourable, and a couple of teams on the beach they're coming up against. That's the games you really want. I don't think you really want to go away to a Derby County right now, even though they're down at the bottom end. They've got a lot to play for. I personally think at this stage, the more favourable fixtures are the mid-table teams with not a lot to play for. But even then, they can trip you up, just like QPR did. So Leeds are top. Sheffield United second, a massive weekend for them, of course. They beat Sheffield Wednesday, fair play to them. I was a bit unsure predicting that Steel City derby, and I got it wrong, so I will put my hands up and say well done to the Blades. Chris Wilder is the master of grinding out the win in those high-pressure, emotional matches, and that could be quite important because there is a big elephant in the room fixture coming up. 3 games from the end of the season, Sheffield United go away to Burnley, and it just does feel like that could decide it all. Burnley are in 3rd place. They are back to winning ways, beating Swansea 2-0, and the form has improved. It is 3 wins, no, it's 4 wins in the last 5. You know, we touched on the fact there's been a few too many draws. Burnley have drawn 15. Sheffield United have only drawn 7, so Burnley have drawn more than double the Blades, and that is what's hindered them. Let's not forget, though, Burnley are on an incredible unbeaten run, and they've only lost 2 games this season as well. I think it's 25 unbeaten. It's something like that. Burnley fans, correct me if I'm wrong. It's just those draws that might kill them, and when we get to that Burnley-Sheffield United game, it's really important about who's going to be second going into that game and what the gap is between the two. Burnley want to preferably go into that game knowing that a draw is okay. If they have to win that, that becomes difficult, but they have already beaten Sheffield United away this season. So it's very difficult, that top three conversation. What I do think we can say when we look at fourth place Sunderland is they're not involved anymore. And they're not really involved in the playoff race either, because they've already got 69 points. I've said this season that you need to get to 70. So yeah, 8 games to get 1 point. They're going to finish at least in the playoffs, aren't they? The difficult thing, I highlighted this with Sunderland, is are they going to have any momentum going into the playoffs? Because they are pretty much guaranteed to finish fourth, whether they end the season strong or badly. That is a little cause for concern, but you could look at it the other way, that they can prep for the playoffs, make sure their best players don't get injured if they want to do that. But then, I don't know, do you lose that momentum? It's a difficult one. How do you frame it? The playoff race, I think it does go down to mid-table still, because there's only 6 points separating West Brom and Sheffield Wednesday. But if you are a Sheffield Wednesday or Millwall fan, it's just the traffic that's the problem here. You know, you're going to have to keep chipping away at different teams here, and you need quite a few to slip up to get in there. Let's have a look at projections then. So this is just going off points per game through the season. This isn't factoring in form. This is what these teams will get if they keep churning out the points per game. Sheffield United fans, I know it's a little bit difficult to read this, because I know you would be on 82 points with the points added back, but I've just gone with a projection based on the points per game with the deduction. This is what we get. And what it tells us is it's 96.8 points to get in that top two for Sheffield United and Leeds, and Burnley would finish with 94.4 points and finish third. So you think it was crazy last season, Leeds United finishing third with 90 points. We could have Burnley or Sheffield United or Leeds get 95, 96. In theory, they could get 97 and miss out, but I'm not sure if it will quite get to that, but they are the projections. And then for the playoffs, I've said this for the longest time, I think 70 points will do it. Yes, we could talk about, oh, let's get to 72, 73, and we'll be safe. Yes, but if you're talking about just getting over the line, I think 70 points will do it, guys. So let me know your thoughts. If, you know, from where Coventry are concerned, and we want to try and finish fifth as well to guarantee playing Sunderland and not one of the top three, then maybe it'll be about 72 points to get into fifth place this season. So I do think Sheffield Wednesday are probably the final team I will consider in this race. Below them you've got Norwich. I think Norwich are just out of reach now. Can a Sheffield Wednesday or Millwall do it? To get to 70 points, they've got 8 games. They need to win at least 6, and then probably a draw on top as well. So just about including Millwall and Sheffield Wednesday, Watford and Blackburn as well. The form's a bit patchy with these teams, and that's probably why they're just outside the playoffs. It's really difficult to get a read on this. One thing I will say, by the way, guys, going on to the teams that finish 5th and 6th, a lot of people, including myself, are making noise about, well, whoever doesn't get in the top 2, whoever finishes 3rd, should win the playoffs. Yes, they will be the favourites, but just take the Carabao Cup final, for example. Liverpool, strong favourites against Newcastle. Newcastle won. It's a one-off game, and that's what can happen, and that's the danger for a Leeds, a Burnley or Sheffield United if they finish 3rd. So that's the playoff race and the top 2 race. Let's just have a little look at those next 2 fixtures. I like that for Leeds. Swansea at home. I think that's a manageable fixture. I don't think Swansea have got a lot to play for. We will come on to the bottom half in a second. Luton away could be a bit tricky. I do trust Leeds more at home, I will say, and Luton are scrapping. Sheffield United have Coventry at home and Oxford away. Both teams have a lot to play for, but what do you think, Blades fans? Are you happy with those next 2 games? Burnley, Bristol City and then Coventry away. Once again, 2 teams in the playoff race. I'm sure Burnley fans are a bit wary. You know, don't want to draw one of them. They need to try and bash out 2 wins there. Sunderland on the beach, but yeah, they've got Millwall and West Brom. Coventry, this is difficult now because Coventry are the highest placed team in the playoff race, but with the most difficult next 2 games, and that could see West Brom, Middlesbrough, Bristol City eating up a little bit of ground on us. And then you go down as far as Sheffield Wednesday and Millwall, their fixtures like Sunderland, Portsmouth, Cardiff, Hull. They have to win the next two to be really drawn back into this, and especially with Coventry playing Sheffield United, Bristol City's next games against Burnley. If you are a Middlesbrough, Blackburn, Watford fan, you need to take advantage when the teams above you are playing the more difficult fixtures. So we will see. I think it might tighten up a little bit, and then I'm going to say it will go to the final day for the playoff race. For the top two race, it probably will go to the final day as well, but we could get a really decisive result when Burnley plays Sheffield United, which might end the top two hopes of the other. So I'm just going to monitor that. And with Leeds, I still fancy them to finish top. I like their fixtures, I like their squad, but yeah, need to cut out a couple of the recent results, I guess. They can't go and just get one win in the next four, otherwise that probably will see them slip to third. Let me know your thoughts, guys. It's difficult to dissect this. It's very fine margins. I think Leeds and Sheffield United are probably the slight favourites to get the job done, just with the cushion they've got and the squads they've got, but Burnley have got a good squad as well. I think, as I say, Sunderland, I'm going to say they're nailed on to finish fourth. And then in the playoff race, maybe 2 from 3 from Cov, West Brom and Bristol City, but Middlesbrough's fixtures open up a bit for them and they might start clawing themselves in. For Blackburn, Watford, Millwall and Sheffield Wednesday, I want to see at least 2 wins from the next 3 if you're going to be really taken seriously in this. And I still think there's a chance, but below Sheffield Wednesday, Norwich, Preston, I think they're out of it. Let's move on to that bottom half then. And this is just crazy, isn't it? I mean, it's got so much tighter recently. I'm going to say it, Norwich and Preston North End are on the beach for me. I don't see them going up or down. And that's if they win all their games or lose all their games. I mean, I suppose if Norwich win all their games, they probably would make the playoffs, but you don't see that happening with the form they're on at the minute. Look at the teams below QPR onwards, or I suppose we could include QPR. This is really tight, really tight. I think what QPR and Swansea have in their favour is the traffic. You're going to require quite a lot of teams to overtake you to really start worrying, but you're not safe yet. And you look at Derby, here's how to measure this. Derby, 38 points, 38 games, so a point per game will take you down as things stand. So we're now looking at 47, 48 points. If we look at the projections based on points per game through the season, yeah, I mean, wow, okay, the tide has started to rise. That's really a problem for Plymouth now, because, you know, if you're a Plymouth fan, you're looking at Cardiff thinking, can we catch them? You've also got to do better than what Derby are doing now as well. So it's a problem for Plymouth. Obviously, losing the Derby game in that last minute as well at home feels like a hammer blow. There's still a way out for Plymouth, but we're talking about top 6 form now to stay up. At least 4 wins from the final 8, possibly 5. For Luton Town, I think they have a chance. The win against Cardiff I didn't see coming. It would have been great if they could have followed it up with a win against Middlesbrough, but they still drew it. So 4 points in 2, it's quite a bit of movement down at the bottom. Just doesn't help that Cardiff won and Derby have won 3 in a row. I still think Luton have got a bit of hope. They've got the players to get out of this, but they've obviously been grossly underperforming this season. So I don't know, that, you know, they're still one of my favourites to go down just based on points right now. But this is not a promotion race, guys. You've got to remember, down at the bottom, things do move slower than at the top. If you win back-to-back games down here, you go moving up the table. If Luton win their next 2 games, they probably poke their heads above the bottom 3. But at the same time, I do think we're going to see more wins than draws as things get a bit more desperate in the final few games here. Like I say, the difficulty with the projections is it could just take 2 teams like, say, Luton and Stoke to massively go on terrible runs, and it might be that you only needed 43 or 44 points to stay up because quite a few teams down there just didn't do anything in the final run-in. So it's difficult to measure. I don't think the bar's going to go crazy through the roof, though. I don't think everyone's going to start winning and then someone goes down with 49 points. I think if you get 47, you're probably okay. So what does that mean then? It means that Stoke are in a real difficult position after conceding another last-minute goal against Millwall. Obviously, it happened against Coventry as well. Cardiff, they've kept themselves above the bottom three with the win at Blackburn, which I thought they would, but Derby just keep winning, and that's a bit of a worry for Cardiff. You know, if Derby just keep rising, Cardiff have to as well. Otherwise, you know, they need to try and pull someone below them. Can you see any of Stoke, Hull, Oxford and Portsmouth going on poor runs? Maybe. For Stoke, it's the points that make me worry. They're only a point above that bottom three. Hull, a little bit of a cushion, and it's 8 points in 4, so maybe they're just about keeping their heads above water. And then Oxford and Pompey, I mean, Oxford have been on a really poor run, but that win against Watford has massively changed things. If they'd have lost that game, they'd be down there in 20th with 39 points as well. So that was a huge win. They need at least one more win and then probably a couple of draws. Portsmouth, I think they'll get out of this. I know the defeat to Plymouth will have probably caused some concern, but same as Oxford, one more win and a couple of draws, and you think they're probably going to do that, you know, with Fortress Fratton. And then Swansea and QPR, they're not safe yet, but we're talking one more win and you probably are. So there's quite a few teams involved. I think this could go to the wire as well. Let's have a look at the next couple of games. I mean, this is great for a neutral. If you look at QPR's games first, and by the way, sorry Norwich and Preston, I'm just saying you're on the beach because you're too good to go down but not good enough to go up, and I'm curious to get your thoughts, but I really do think Norwich and Preston are on the beach. Preston can definitely turn their attention to the FA Cup, by the way. So QPR, you look at these games, Stoke and Cardiff. If they lose both of them, or even draw one and lose one, that will see the tide rising towards them. So really important not to lose those games, or at least win one of them, and then one defeat. Yeah, one win, one defeat, 48 points. They're probably all right, aren't they? Swansea, Leeds away, you know, and don't like to get carried away, but I think Leeds probably win that game, and then, you know, Swansea don't win. A few teams below them might. The tide will rise. Portsmouth, Blackburn at home, Millwall away. Okay fixtures. Like I say, one more win at Fratton Park, you're probably okay. A couple of draws, maybe 2 more wins then to get to 48. Oxford, I don't like those fixtures. Middlesbrough away and Sheffield United at home. If they can get a surprise draw out of those two, you know, even if they were to win one of those two, that'd be massive. But it's about, you know, keeping an eye on those other fixtures. If you're an Oxford fan, if you lose those games, just hope the teams around you don't all win. Hull City, Luton at home, that could be massive. And then Sheffield Wednesday away, that should be fun. Yorkshire Derby. Stoke have QPR. They need to pull in the rest, don't they? If you're a Stoke fan or a Cardiff fan, you need to pull QPR in. You need to pull Swansea in. You've got to go and win those games. And then Derby, I mean, let's give Derby credit, by the way. 3 wins in 3. John Eustace has suddenly changed my mind on, oh, they're the worst team in the league, to, oh yeah, they're going to stay up comfortably. And it's 3 games. They could go back to losing ways after this, but you see there being fight, don't you? You see there being enough character to give this a go and possibly pull someone else in instead of them. Derby's fixtures, Preston and Swansea, I quite like those fixtures if I'm a Derby fan. 2 teams possibly on the beach. I mean, I know we've said Swansea are not quite on the beach, but say if Swansea win their game before that, well, no, they've got Leeds away. They might not win that. But you can try and pull Swansea in. I mean, if Derby win the next 2 and Swansea lose the next 2, they're level on points. And with Derby's game against Preston, I think that's midweek after we return. And Preston will have played in the FA Cup quarter-final against Villa, and it's at Pride Park. I think that's set up quite nicely for Derby. Preston probably shattered. Whether they win, lose or draw against Villa, they will give that game everything. And Derby will know they've had some rest. Go hell for leather at home against Preston. And you might make it 4 wins in 4 and come out of that bottom 3. And the thing is now, I know Derby is still in the bottom 3, but look at the amount of teams that are within touching distance. If Derby win their next game, they probably come out of the bottom 3, because look how many teams they can catch. Luton, they've got to get something at Hull, surely. I mean, the next game after that is Leeds at home. Oh, blimey. They have to try and get something at Hull, and preferably a win. You know, when you're in the bottom three, draws are not as good. You've got to go and get the win. And we will touch on Plymouth. I still think there's a way they could do it, but we're definitely talking wins only now. Draws will not do a lot when there is other teams winning down there and you're so far behind. It's not impossible though. I mean, 33... It's the goal difference that is a bit of a concern because it's kind of like an extra point against them. But Watford away, Norwich at home, if they get 4 points from those two, there might be a chance, you know. We will see. I think if you're a Plymouth fan or a Luton fan, you'd take an opportunity going into the final day where you win and you're safe. So just claw a bit of ground back, and look how many teams are dangling above this. There's bound to be at least one or two of them that are going to lose their next 2 or 3 games, and you can pull them in. But you've got to get some results at your end. So there you go. I mean, I'm going to have to try and get round to predicting this at some point during this international break. I don't know. I'll probably go off your predictions. What are you guys saying in the comments? Let me know your thoughts. At the top, it could be that someone genuinely gets 96 points and doesn't get top 2, which would be crazy. The playoff race, possibly someone gets in there with 69, maybe even 68, depends. There's quite a few teams involved. And down at the bottom, very tight, probably going to the final day. Like I say, let me know your thoughts. It's fascinating. It's the Championship, isn't it? It's brilliant. Make sure to support the video if you like your Championship stuff. I will do a Championship final table prediction at some point, which I'm already stressing about. Drop a like on this video. Make sure to subscribe as well. I will see you in the next one, guys. Take care. Peace out.